Tere. My name is Yaroslav, and this video is both a home project for the courses Critical Issues of Technology Use in Education and Philosophy of Educational Technology, and also I just decided to upload it on my YouTube channel. Maybe some of my subscribers will be interested. I hope so. So in this video I want to talk about my vision of using the RPG system in education. The idea of using the system of characteristics in psychological trainings came to me a long time ago, but it got a new life after my acquaintance with the game Disco Elysium, also by the coincidence developed by Estonian developers. So, since the task of one course is to give an example of my own tinkering, and for the one to offer an innovative educational technology, it seemed to me that idea fits both of these criteria. First of all, it was taken from a computer game, which is far from often a source of pedagogical insights, and secondly, its application can completely change the essence of the educational process and make it more individual. But before explaining how the adventures of an alcoholic detective can change pedagogy, let's take a step back and talk a little bit about the genre of RPG. Initially, RPG is a genre of board games for which you don't need a field or chips or cards, only a leader, which is called master, and a few game dices to simulate randomness, which is also a very important criteria in our real life, and we will talk about it a little bit later. So during the game, participants describe their character sections through speech. Participants determine the actions of their characters based on their characterization, and the actions succeeded or fail according to a set of formal system of rules and guidelines, which you can see there are a lot of them. Within the rules, players have the freedom to improvise. Their choices shape the direction and outcome of the game. RPG offers an almost endless scope for scenarios and situations, and the number of settings that exist in it is in the thousands, from classical fantasy worlds to space adventures and survival in post-apocalyptic world. By the way, the model or the setting is an important part of trainings, the purpose of which is not only to accelerate the adaptation of participants, but also to create conditions for practicing certain skills, which we'll also describe a little bit later. So, with the advent of computers, RPG has become one of the most popular genres of video games. I won't list all of them that influenced my idea, but I will highlight the one that got me and my friend thinking about applying this concept to trainings. And I talk about the Fallout series, which has become legendary for many gamers. So in Fallout, the concept of characteristics has the following structure. First, at the beginning of the game, you set the characteristic of your character. There are 7 of them, and first letter are the abbreviation for special. It's strange, perception, endurance, charisma, intelligence, agility, and luck. And basically, strange allows you to carry more things, perception allows you to see further, endurance allows you to run longer, charisma allows you to make an impression, etc. These characteristics largely determine your gameplay and allow you to develop skills. Skills can be largely thought of as either combat or non-combat, and combat skills basically are skills that influence the effectiveness of weapons, which isn't very interesting for us. When non-combat skills include barter, medicine, repair, and speech. And as you can think, speech allows you to persuade NPC, non-playable characters. Barter allows you to sell your items, your stuff for more expensive values. Medicine allows you to heal yourself better, and repair allows you to repair things you have also better. Perks are one of the most important features of the RPG system, which is directly related to the idea of using it in trainings. Perks are unique abilities of your character that you can learn by gaining experience. So basically, you can learn one perk per each level you gained. perks are based on the main characteristic and on the skill at the same time, and they give significant bonuses. For example, in Fallout, as you can see on the screen, Rapid Reload perk is based on agility, it requires to be at least 5, and skill Guns, it requires to be at least 30, and it makes all of your weapon reloads 25% faster than normal. Traits modify different aspects of gameplay, including, but not limited to, primary statistic, derived statistic, and skills. Traits always have both positive and negative results. For example, the small frame trait grants a +1 to agility, but also makes limbs more easily crippled. If we talk about psychological training, then such a system can help systematize innate inclinations, stats, skills that you can help develop during trainings, and the results that these skills will give. Imagine training on the ability to resolve conflicts, for example. In order to get the Peacemaker perk, which makes it possible to resolve the conflict peacefully, we need a certain level of charisma and pumped speech skill, that would be 50. And which conflict resolution strategy is right for you? If you have a high level of charisma, it makes sense to pump the skill of empathy, and if your intelligence is above average, then you can try to develop logic. But what if your charisma is significantly less than 5, but at the same time physical strength is developed much more strongly? In addition, you have the trait of an introvert and you are not very interested in social contacts. Maybe it makes sense to develop the skill of martial arts and resolve conflicts in slightly different way. Approximately this interpretation of the system of stats, skills and perks is used in Disco Elysium. Disco Elysium takes place in the seaside district of a fictional city, Revachol, still recovering from a siege which occurred decades prior to the game's start. Players take role of an amnesiac detective who has been tasked with solving a murder mystery. During the investigation, he comes to recall events about his own past, as well as current forces trying to affect the city. In the beginning of the game, you are offered to choose one of 3 archetypes that define what types of detective you are. So you could be a thinker, extremely intelligent and very bad with people, knows interesting facts, comes up with original ideas. You could be sensitive type, very psychological and magnetic personality, but a little bit unstable. You could be physical detective, extremely physical, interact with the world through your body, get things done but dumb as a rock. Or you also can create your own character, but of course remember that points that you have are limited. On a picture you can see the skills in each of the categories. For example, logic will help you in judgments, empathy to better understand people's emotions, a physical instrument determines the ability to handle improvised tools, and the speed of reaction will clearly help in extreme situations. But as you remember, you have only limited amount of points, so in this lies another potential of this concept, which raises an important question in real life: to be a versatile personality or narrowly focused specialist. The feature of the game is that each of these skills represents a separate person in your head, which enters into a dialogue with you in the right situations. Here we see an example of such a situation. You're interrogating a witness and trying to get the information you need. As you can see on the right, you had an opportunity to press with the authority which you used, after which the witness mentioned the name Antistar. Your erudition tells you that this is a local rock musician which you can use in the future to conduct a dialogue with the suspect and influence her. Each time you must pass a skill check. Depending on the difficult situations, a certain threshold is set, which you must overcome in order to successfully pass. Here we see that the number 11 is required to pass the test. You roll 2 dice and add your current skill level to the number. In some situations, you can receive a positive or negative bonuses depending, for example, on a relationship with the person. In real life, personification of personal qualities can help you take a broader look at their application in different situations. For example, what would logic tell you? What could be heard from empathy? And maybe in this situation it is worth paying more attention to perception. Also in the game you can increase the characteristics with the help of clauses. Unlike the razor and realistic concept of classic RPGs, in which equipment gives you bonuses that are hard to imagine in real life, for example, the hat could make you more intelligent, here the clothing elements really fit into the gameplay. For example, ugly glasses can cost you charisma, but increase your visual perception. And what could be an analog for this system in psychological trainings? Well, for me it's technologies. For example, a smartphone can help you in the encyclopedia, so you can always look up the information that you need, but it will significantly reduce your authority as an erudite. So maybe then it's worth developing erudition. Disco Elysium features a secondary inventory system known as a thought cabinet. Thoughts are unlockable through conversations with other characters, as well as our internal dialogues within the mind of the player character himself. The player is then able to internalize a thought through a certain amount of in-game hours, which, once completed, grants the player character permanent benefits, but also occasionally negative effects. And this concept could be compared to the trade system that I already mentioned in the Fallout series. For example, an early possible option for the thought cabinet is the Hobocop thought, in which the character ponders the option of living on the streets to save money, which reduces the character's composure with other NPCs while the thought is internalized. When the character has completed the Hobocop thought, it allows them to find more junk on the streets that can be sold for money, which is quite strange, but nevertheless. So how can we apply this in psychological trainings? Well, personally, this system reminds me of the concept of models in NLP or reframing. The adoption of a new worldview construction can help a person find new ways to solve a problem or discover previously unconsidered development options. Although my vision still remains in the format of an idea, I have no doubts about its further implementation. The RPG system can make learning more personal and help students realize the real goals of their education.